What is up, everybody? Brent Abel here, Web Tennis. Sorry. Sorry, webtennis.com.
Well,
Goldballhunting.com.
are you wearing the hat today? No, you got the USA hat on.
got the
I thought it was
USA hat.
web tennis hat on.
Yeah. Anyway, Brent Abel, goldballhunting.com. That dude over there is Jeff Jacklich, co-creator of this project, Goldball Hunting, which we are publishing every day. Today is episode, Jeff. Let me take a quick peek here.
Closing in 198 or something.
198, bingo.
Woohoo!
God dang it,
How
man.
did I pull that out of the air?
Probably because I told you it was 196 2 days ago.
Could have been.
I mean, you're good, but yeah. Anyway, so guys, we're publishing an episode every day, and we're basically trying to help three different types of players. We're trying to help the tournament guys and gals. Could be national tournaments, could be regional, could be a local, could be a club tournament. But those things where the results are published publicly, right? A little pressure, man. We're helping league players, whether or not you want to just kind of maintain your woefully inaccurate NTRP rating label. And that's no disrespect for you. It's disrespect for, anyway, I think you get the gist on that one.
Yeah.
But maybe you want to actually move up to the next rating label. And so we're helping those guys and gals as well. And then also the Wednesday Night Brew Crew, those players who love to compete. You know, they got a regular group of doubles guys, or maybe it's a regular singles. And you know what? At the end of the night, whoever loses got to buy the brews or got to buy the wine or whatever. And you want to be the one going, yeah, thank you. I think I'll have, and watch them shell out the money. So anyway, those are basically the three types of players we're helping. And Jeff, we've got an interesting question from one of our students who kind of fits into the first, well, actually all three groups.
Right.
Super competitive player, tournaments, leagues, and playing lots of practice matches, and is also doing, or I should say, is also putting in just lots of practice time as well. And the question today is about practice time, and is, she says, would love for you guys to discuss how to practice smarter, not harder. In other words, how a person spends their time on the court, in the gym, sleep, nutrition, etc. Which direction is it that's actually moving the dial? So any practical, there's the word, practical ideas for how a player could do that. What's your initial thought to that question?
Initial thought is this: is like, when we've talked about a lot of players that go out and when they play a practice set, their only focus is on trying to win the practice set, which doesn't move the meter in terms of what are you working on? Are you getting better, right? So we can just take a quick glance at Fed. Okay, I'm going to use him. He's the highest marker in the game. And guess what? 4 years ago now, 3 years ago now, 4 years ago now, he made his backhand better. He was off for 6 months, had the knee surgery, and he worked on his backhand. Obviously, 4 Grand Slams later, right? He did 2 each year, Wimbledon and Australian Open, right? Two years in a row, he won those 2 titles, right?
Good possibility.
Whatever. So the point is that what's, read the beginning of the question again, because I want to be sure I address, like when you go out to the court.
So basically it's this: how do we practice smarter,
right,
rather than harder? And look, I've been guilty of the latter thing, which is, and part of it for me is I just love to go out and grind. I mean, for me, like part of the, I wouldn't say I'm practicing harder, meaning that I'm beating my head against the wall, but I do love to go out there and I will drill or play and play points in a way where maybe not keeping score, but I do it as a fitness opportunity sometimes.
Right. I think there's what you see for me so what that does is there's some different like facets of this, of the great question, by the way. I mean, great question. So one is there's a measure of time every week that should be devoted to like maintenance work. And I kind of feel like that's what you just described. You've got your your physical routine that you do every week. You eat a certain, your diet stays pretty steady in the vein that you're eating in. Occasionally, okay, I'm having one extra beer tonight, or I'm going to indulge and have the key lime pie that Mai just made because it's the best on the planet, and we're all gonna indulge in that when it's sitting there on the table, right? No one's saying no to that.
That's true.
So what I'm getting at, though, is that there's a measure, though, of maintenance work that keeps you playing at this higher level more often, right? We talk about our skill level range. It keeps you in that higher range, right? And that's just maintenance work. And so then if you're going out, then what? What do I do next, right? And obviously for each player, that's individual. What do you think you need to improve upon, right? And so are you actually focused on that detail rather than I'm going to go out and hit, 300 forehands tonight on the ball machine? Okay, to what end? What is like? Why are we doing that? What's the why are we doing it? And so, your practice has to have purpose. There has to be something about it why I'm going to do this. Now, if you tell me that what I'm doing is I'm hitting 2 drives cross court off the machine, and then the third ball that comes in, I'm playing a little cut shot, a dump shot short, because I want to practice this pattern, but I want the ball moving at a reasonable pace that I can handle, that I can actually start to groove and get the feel of how do I hit 2 drives and then soften a ball, right? So that's practical application of the sequencing that happens in a match. Normally, you've just hit a couple hard balls, and now the opportunity to hit this softer ball arises. And so you have to know the feel of how that is put together, under match play condition, kind of under those conditions. So anyway, that would be my first swipe at this is do you have why are you doing what you're doing? You got to be able to flush that out.
Yeah. Well, look, for me, and you're right, a great question, and we need to continue to think about our practice time where a lot of players don't have maybe as much as I do, or maybe as much as some other players, right? And so if you're going to practice smarter, for me, Jeff, I've gotten way better at being able to come out of a match, whether it's a tournament match, whether it's a league match, or whether it's a practice match, and be able to pick out, hey, well, what's the one thing that in this match that I could really kind of recreate that situation in a practice session. So it goes even more specific than, well, lots of times I get 2 hard balls and then a ball that I can soften. I will go, you know what, in this match today, I can see where this one situation kind of keeps coming up in my matches. And so what can I do to go out there and, number one, I got to figure out, well, what do I want to do instead? In that situation, what do I want to do instead? And then number 2, figure out how am I going to recreate that thing in a practice situation that has no consequences, right? So it could be that it's not ball machine. It could be that it's not technique. It's just that I need to go to a practice partner and say, look, can you give me 15 minutes and here's kind of what I want to do. And so I'm recreating that specific match play situation. And just like you said, I'm trying to get a feel for what it feels like the way that I want to do it instead. Right. And to me, that sort of addresses the thing, well, how do we practice smarter than harder? It doesn't mean that you put in less time. I think too often everyone thinks, well, what's the hack? What's the shortcut for being able to do this or do that? And I think everyone thinks, well, that means I'm going to get the same result in less time. Yeah, you might sometimes. Right. But to me, it's how do we practice smarter rather than harder, and that is to get more specific about what just happened in a real live match, not what you said yesterday with the half loop on the Fed forehand. That would be practicing not harder, that would be practicing dumber. That would just be...
Right.
There's no transferability back to your matches. Right. So that's really, I think the place to start is what can you practice that will actually transfer over to your real live matches that you've seen it's a little bit of a problem here, a little bit of a problem. And so that would sort of be my answer to the thing. Now, the question also was pretty broad. It was more, with nutrition and sleep and that kind of stuff. And I think what we'll do is let's save that for another episode. Because sleep and nutrition and all that kind of stuff is
Right.
large. And so any other thoughts on?
I think that I think there's like there's so many things that you can do by yourself on the court and with a practice partner that doesn't necessarily involve rallying. I know that I've got some players that I'm coaching, gold ball winners and those on the cusp, and I taught them how to hand feed out of the basket standing right there, so they can do it with each other, and they can do pattern work, and they can do this other stuff, so that they're actually building the neural pathways of those patterns. So now in those situations, you're just not bound up by, oh, should I do this, or what should I do? Once you start to really learn the patterns and they start to become habits, now you're just linking patterns together. And so your flow in points, your automation in a point and how to construct it, your mind is so much more freed up and confident in the choices you're making, as opposed to, I'm not sure if I should do this now. And that just leads itself to not being confident in your swing freedom and all those things that come out of that. So just to reiterate again, what are you doing, and is it overly complicated in trying to achieve, like, what's the goal? And then I think you've really got to look at, too, is that goal actually applicable to you? Is it reasonable for my level of play? And if I answer no to that, okay, what's reasonable then with my skill set right now? And what should I really be, is there something it's a shorter step to be successful, and then building that foundation to build upon again? Because that's all it is. It's a one step. Now that I've got this, I got to build something on top of that. And it just keeps working like that. That's how you end up, Brenny, winning, whatever, how many 11 gold balls that you have and untold silvers and bronzes, right? So that's how you do it. It's a layer upon layer upon layer. You don't get to go from full loop to half loop in a day.
Huh? Really? I can't just. It's not a tip, you mean? I can't go from the full to the half loop in one tip?
Yeah. The only tip there is the racket, the tip of the racket, man. That's the only tip you get on that. That's.
Well, another tip would be don't do it. Just stop it.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Yeah.
You just said something that, as you're talking, kind of rings true. When when you and I talk to a lot of players, is they really don't have the clarity on what it is in their matches, what it is in their game, whether it's singles or doubles. That is something that they could actually be able to pinpoint, step back, kind of look at this thing objectively and be able to identify something, and then be able to go, okay, well, that's the one thing right now that if I could solve that, then maybe lots of the other areas of my game might just kind of just go away. I wouldn't really need. So part of what we're offering with our 10-minute private coaching calls is helping students identify that thing, kind of identify reality, as opposed,
right.
and you know it as well as I do. We get guys who get in the phone with us and they're talking about this or that, and we keep probing, and what we find out is that's not the thing. That's not the thing that's
right.
holding them back. In fact, well, it could be the thing that's holding them back because they're so focused on this one area that's not going to move the needle. It's not going to get it done. So anyway, I guess to kind of wrap up today, guys, look, Jeff and I are offering a free private coaching call. 10 minutes. We generally go over 10. that guy right there, wherever he is, can't shut up. He keeps talking the whole time. And Jeff, could you anyway? So, but look, it's plenty of time to be able to kind of go through and let us hear your story about what's going on with your game. Again, whether it's singles or doubles, and let's see if we can't point you in the right direction to help you start getting the result you want. The way to get on that call, go over to goldballhunting.com, drop in your first name and email address, click the button, and you'll get immediate access to our online calendar scheduler where you get to pick the date and time that works best for you. If you're already on our email list, you know as well as I do, there's a link there in that email, any email you get from us that will take you to that online calendar scheduler. Jeffrey, with that, what do we want the fine folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below. We just might answer your question.
Yeah, so more than just think, what is on your mind? Serious. Let us know, really, what's going on with your game? Where do you need help? Give us some, what was it? Gristle for the something about, anyway. Give us something. Give us something that we can help.
I don't know,
you
but I think you just butchered it. So.
I did. Well, yeah. Get in line with the Brent Abel butcher job. It's just never ending. Probably won't get any better. But anyway, we want to help you, and we can't help you if we don't know exactly what's going on with your game. So, for sure, in the comment section, guys, get out there, help someone else have a great day today. Jeff, let's do this again tomorrow.
Can't wait.